All right, so now you have been back to baking. You made your homemade chocolate lava cakes. You made your mini tray cakes. So you got, connected with how to make cake a little bit, how to dye frosting. So now you actually get to make and assemble a full homemade cake from scratch. So we are going to make a yellow cake. We're gonna make a chocolate filling, and then we're gonna make a vanilla buttercream. You're gonna do this with your partner, and you're gonna crumb cone it, and you're gonna do a little bit of decorating. Very basic before we get into a full out decorating unit. So we are gonna have you make a chocolate filling. This is coming off of you making homemade frostings and homemade fillings, that sampling. So your teacher may let you make another kind, but we wanna make sure you understand how to make just a basic chocolate filling. So step one in our recipe is to prep your pans, which I've already started. You learned this in Pastry Chef, so we're gonna do a 2-layer cake. I'm using 8-inch pans. So you're just going to spray. Your teacher may have you use shortening. And then we took parchment paper and traced on the bottom. You can see them with black marker. And then you're just gonna, I always like to grease first, and then you're gonna press this in, just like so. And then you're gonna press it a little more. Some recipes will also tell you to put flour. It's just helping so the cake comes out full without it breaking. All right, so I'm just gonna set these off to the side. All right, you probably will have one full day to mise en place for all 3 recipes, and then this will be divided as you'll make like the cake one day, filling, frosting, assemble another day. So this will probably take about 5 days, give or take. So we're gonna use our kitchen mixer. So I'm gonna use my paddle attachment. My paddle attachment is really good for making cakes because it helps with creaming. Can you do all these things by hand? Of course, it's just gonna take you a lot more time. So just as a reminder, this goes upward like so. Attach it in place. And then we are gonna start off by creaming our butter. This is 4 ounces, which is the equivalent to about a stick. So if you have a big block of butter out, you're going to have to measure the 4 ounces. Remember, everything is scaled now, so you are going to be weighing everything. And then 300 grams of granulated sugar. So I'm gonna combine both of these. My butter is room temperature, but we still wanna make sure we're setting the base for our cakes. So we wanna make sure that it is really creamed. So creaming, the more you do it, you are setting the tone for a nice, rich, creamy, velvety cake. If you do not cream it enough, it's not gonna incorporate properly, and you're not gonna get that really good texture you're looking for. So your teacher may, when you're actually making this, not want you to add any other ingredients until they see the creamed mixture. So I'm gonna let this cream for about 2 minutes. It's gonna start looking like wet sand, and then the warmer it gets, it looks creamier and creamier and creamier, hence the term creamy. That sugar dissolves into the fat, so we'll be right back. All right, so we are back, and I'm gonna add in our 2 eggs. So because we mise en place, I had already beaten the eggs, so it says to add them 1 at a time. What that really means is you just wanna incorporate a little at a time. So I'm gonna add about half of my baggie as it's mixing, and the egg is serving as a binder. So it's binding our wet ingredients to our liquid ingredients, or our dry ingredients. I'm so sorry, silly me. I know what I'm talking about. And again, at this point, there's no such thing as over mixing. You're just setting the tone. I just incorporated that up a little bit. Remember, cleaning as you go, for a beautiful texture. At this point, I'm also going to incorporate my vanilla. All right, and vanilla is added in the middle with the egg. Just is gonna provide flavor. We're just using regular imitation vanilla. Some recipes will call for clear vanilla. But because color doesn't matter here, it's fine. All right, so now it's nice and smooth and beautiful. Before I do anything, I'm just going to open this up, okay? And I'm going to just go around the sides to make sure everything, sometimes in the bottom of the kitchen mixer, you'll have clumps, and we don't want that. So I'm just gonna clean my bowl. And then now I'm ready to incorporate my dry ingredients. Okay, I'm just going to take this, put this here. All right, so my dry ingredients include cake flour. So we're gonna do 250 grams. You can substitute with all-purpose. And then I've incorporated my baking powder, my baking soda, and my salt. So that's all in here. All right, so all my dry ingredients, including my leaveners, baking soda, baking powder, and salt is all incorporated in here, so you can combine that when you mise en place. And then in here, I have my buttermilk. So your teacher may buy you buttermilk pre-made, or it's kind of expensive, so we might have you make it. So buttermilk is essentially milk with acid added, so it would be 1 cup of milk with 1 teaspoon of vinegar. And then you kind of just let it sit and coagulate, and it serves as the acid to react with your baking soda, okay? So if you recall, we have our butter and sugar that we creamed. We added our eggs in the middle to bind all this together. And now we're gonna add this back and forth so it's a nice smooth mixture. We do not want it lumpy. So I am going to add about 1/3 of my dry mixture. All right, I'm gonna start it on low stirring. You can incorporate this if you want and then go through here. I always it gets stuck for me, but you are more than welcome to use that. Do what works best for you. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of my buttermilk, okay? And you're gonna, once it starts getting a little bit more incorporated, you can turn up your speed to 2, but you don't wanna go too crazy. Okay, you can see it's making nice beautifulness. And then I like to turn it off in between because I just have seen too many students get flour all over. So my second third is going in, and then start and stir. And then I'm gonna add another 1/3 of my milk. I'm just eyeballing this. You don't have to like take out a measure. Everything's already measured. It's just a gradual implementation of your ingredients. So I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. You can see it's getting thicker. And then here's my last implement of my dry ingredients. Start that slow. Again, throwing it away. It's a big pet peeve to leave all your garbage everywhere. It's hard to make beautiful cakes when you have a mess. Okay, so now I'm going to incorporate my last implementation of my milk. And I'm gonna let it mix just until incorporated. All right, and then I'm gonna stop it because I'm going to turn it out a little bit to give one more mix. Again, remember what I said at the beginning, sometimes you get little pieces stuck in the bottom that the mixer did not incorporate. So we wanna make sure you get that all incorporated. Okay, and then I'm just gonna mix, full speed for a second, and then I'm done. All right, I'm gonna show you how to put it in the pan. All right, so we are back. So I am going to use the rubber scraper to kind of go in and make sure it's all incorporated. See how I'm cleaning the sides of my bowl? Finish it off by hand. It's nice and fluffy, okay? So now this is really important. We wanna have 2 equal layers. So we are going to start by, you're gonna divide your dough. So you can do this there's multiple ways to do this. You can start by putting one on here, tear it out, and I'm gonna put it in ounces. Make sure it's 0, so it's like nothing is here. And then I'm gonna start with 4 ounces of my batter. You just wanna make sure it's equal, okay? So I have that. Again, I know that's not gonna be enough, but I wanna make sure the other one gets some first. All right, so it's all right. So I'm gonna put this one on here. And then I'm gonna do exactly the same amount, and then I can go back with what I have left and equal it out. You could also weigh all your batter all together, and then divide it in half if you wanna do that calculation. You're gonna do whatever works for you. The end goal here is that it's equal, all right? So that's, all right. So we'll be right back. All right, so we are back and we are ready to bake our cake. So as you can see, I've leveled them both off, all right? And here's the thing, I could tell you, oh, you're gonna have this much dough. The difference is, and it should be very equal because we're all using a scale, but sometimes it's off. So it's gonna be individual to you how much batter you end up with and how you're dividing. So make sure you're communicating with your partner and get them as level as possible. All right, so I smooth them off just with my little rubber scraper and make sure they're nice and smooth. Bang them a little bit to get rid of any air pockets, and then you're gonna put them on your sheet pan. I did not put parchment on, you will. Make sure you label it. Make sure you also label the side, however your teacher directs you, just so you end up with your cake at the end. So these are gonna bake 350 for about 25 minutes. So we'll see you soon.